Welcome, everybody, to Game of the Month discussion number 36. 3 years. How has it been 3 years? We did Banjo Kazooie last week. That's how bad of a taste that left in my mouth. Anyway, drive-bys aside, this month we are talking about the one and only Chrono Trigger, the 1995 Super Nintendo RPG classic that is talked about continuously to this day, and here we are joining in on that conversation. And joining me this month is the one and only SMWiz. Thank you so much for joining me again.
Happy to be here.
All right. So, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and start us off this month. I'm going to share my experiences with Chrono Trigger up till now, and we're going to start with I still have never beaten this game to this day. That's right. As I'm making this video, I have not finished the game once. I am very close now, but still haven't done it after 30 years. And that's not to say I haven't tried, because I have. I've tried playing through this game multiple times, and I never make it past the Masamune. Never.
That's what I was about to ask. Where's the point that gets you stuck? Like, where's the point where you tap out because it's just not fun anymore?
Masamune. Every single time. Every single time. So I never owned this game on Super Nintendo until very recently when I got a Japanese cartridge of it, because the North American copy is obviously just unfeasible to own if you didn't get it back in the day, especially with that nice box you got there, by the way. But
I got a different story there.
Yeah, so
you tell your story.
I first played this game on my original Xbox through Super Nintendo emulation, just like I did Super Metroid. And the reason that I started playing this game is because my buddy wanted to play through it, so he had it on the PS1 version, and so he's playing through it on PS1, and we just have two screens side by side. So I have the emulated Super Nintendo version up on my Xbox, he's playing on PS1, and he's just basically Sherpaing me through the game. Like, all right, you want to go here because there's a secret, you want to go here because there's a secret, you want to get this, and like he's very good at that stuff. So we've been playing through Baldur's Gate 3 on weekends, and I just tell him like, all right, you handle everything else, just tell me what I need to destroy. And so kind of started back then with Chrono Trigger. And so we made it to the Masamune, never touched it again. So that Xbox ended up getting stolen, so I lost that save. So I started another save on my PC emulator and just was going through it on my own. Took much longer. Made it to the Masamune, never touched it again. Computer got upgraded, lost that save. Okay, whatever. So finally I get a PS2. Well, I guess I had a PS2 up to this point for a little bit, but I decided to get the PS1 version of the disc. And that was abysmal experience with the load times. Absolutely atrocious. Gave up on that before even like rescuing Princess Nadia. Like, it just was not worth it. Gave up on that very quickly. So finally, DS version comes out. I buy the DS version because it's the PS1 version minus the load times. Hooray! Made it to the Masamune and never touched it again. So I know everything that happens in this game. I've never experienced it firsthand, but now I'm about to watch. Spoiler, this is not a spoiler-free discussion this month. We're just gonna get that out of the front now. We're gonna lay it all bare.
A game that is 30 years old,
yeah,
but it's very famous in part for its story. It's a story-rich game, and we're gonna spoil it like crazy.
Yes, we are. So I'm about to get to the point where Chrono dies. So we're very close to the end of the game now. For the first time in all of my life. And after we finish recording this today, I'm probably gonna like stay up till 4 a.m. and finishing it. So I'm determined to finally have it done. So that's my experience with Chrono Trigger, and yeah, it's amazing. Why don't you share with us your first experiences of this game?
Yeah, so I somehow this one went right under my radar in the Super Nintendo days. Literally never heard the words Chrono Trigger uttered anywhere. until I was in college and the DS version came out, and I had a roommate who was a big RPG fan, and he didn't have a DS, but I did, and he's like, "Hey, you should pick this up. It's really good." And so I was like, RPGs are very hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
And because it's my first RPG was Mario RPG, and that is like one of the lightest of the light RPGs.
Yep,
And
we
so
have.
like I enjoy it, but a lot of purists don't care so much.
It
And
was good.
I've played other games that it's like some of them are just feel like they're complicated for the sake of being complicated,
Yep.
you know? But, when I looked at the cover art and I was like, why does this look like Dragon Ball Z? You know? And then you go to Google and you're like, oh, Akira Toriyama did the artwork. Okay, I'm in 100%. I got just enough weeb in me to make a video game purchase based on that criteria, you
And
know?
I wonder how many people picked this game up back in the day, like even on Super Nintendo because of that, like watching original Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I don't know, but I was like, all right, I'm in. I'll give this a try. And so
worth it,
yeah,
worth it.
probably about 15ish years ago, that was my first time playing it. And yeah, I played through it and I enjoyed it. And this month it was the first time I've picked it up since then. So this was my second playthrough, but it's been so long that like I remembered, a handful of story points, but most of it was like experiencing it for the first time again.
Oh, it's beautiful. So I'm gonna take a really quick drive by at this game. That's
Okay.
not a bad
Oh,
thing. It's
you,
not a bad thing. People are gonna
actually,
take
oh,
this the wrong way.
hmm
They're gonna take it the wrong way, but
uh-huh.
this game is incredibly overhyped. Just like The Last of Us or Need
I
for
was like,
Speed
hold,
Underground
hold,
1 and 2, they're just overhyped games
I'm
for what they
sorry.
are.
I
But,
can't hear
but,
you
but,
anymore. The
but,
clacking of the keyboard from the viewers. I can't hear a word you're saying. Like they're going crazy.
but,
Okay.
unlike The Last of Us, this game actually deserves the hype it gets in my mind. Like, this is one of those overhyped games where the hype didn't ruin it. So,
Yeah.
like, you talk to anyone that is moderately into RPGs, they're always going to bring up Chrono Trigger. There's very few times someone doesn't bring up Chrono Trigger. So the
hmm
game is incredibly overhyped. And when a game is overhyped, that usually wrecks it for me. Usually. So, I mean, there's exceptions to that. Metal Gear, Need for Speed, Underground 1 and 2.
Like
Like,
usually wrecks it for you for a game you've tried 4 times and never finished. But go on. Go on.
it's
It didn't
not
ruin it
because I
for you.
don't like it, though. It's just because of my inability to stick with RPGs.
Okay.
But like this game deserves the hype it gets in my mind. Like it's not the deepest game. It is an approachable game. This is anybody that has experience with RPGs or doesn't can pick this game up and play through it with relative ease. There's a good story to it. Again, I know everything that happens in the game. I know the whole story, even if I haven't beaten it. It's got a great story. Time travel. Who doesn't love time travel storylines when they're done well? Obviously, there's a lot of bad ones, but
hmm
so yeah, like this game is incredibly overhyped, but it deserves it. Unlike The Last of Us.
Wow, you just ain't done with your drive-bys. Okay. But you talk about Last of Us the game, or are you talking about the HBO adaptation?
No, no, no.
That
No one talks about the
that's it.
HBO adaptation. Screw that crap. We're talking about
I mean,
the first game,
season
2013
one was
game.
pretty good. Season one was good.
Well, see, that's
Yeah,
exactly what just happened. The
but
first
yeah.
game was good, and the second
Oh,
game was
actually,
trash. And so the
I
first season of the show
actually
is good, the second
no,
season's
now
trash.
now it's my turn to anger keyboard warriors. Um, The Last of Us. Love watching the cutscenes. Love the story. I think the gameplay's crap.
Gameplay is awful. That's why that game is incredibly overhyped.
Like I think as a movie it's fantastic. I think as a game it's trash.
Yeah,
But uh,
it exists in a post Halo world and somehow still managed to screw up third-person shooter controls. Post Gears of War 1 world, and it managed to
Yeah.
screw up third-person shooter controls. Like, horrible game to play.
Anyways, now that we have given people time to write really mean, angry comments that you will read, I won't because I don't care. I should say to the I've got my you called out my boxed Super Nintendo edition. This is just the luckiest of luck get because about 10 years ago had a coworker come into work with a box from his childhood. He's like
Oh,
his
man.
parents were cleaning out their house and he had a box of Super Nintendo games and he asked me if I wanted any of them
Oh.
and I was like yeah, you know.
I'm not going to
I
tell you that game's worth $400 10 years ago.
Well, no, here's is it was no, it wasn't that bad because the cart by itself was going between 90 and 100 at that point. And the reason I know that is because he and I were talking about a deal. I was gonna give him money. I wasn't gonna take the box, until some other jerk walked by, looked at it. Stupid kid, by the way, who doesn't know anything about retro games. He went to Amazon.com and searched for a game he saw in the box. And because I'm the luckiest person in the world, the one that he decided to search for on Amazon.com was Earthbound Big Box Edition. And there was a listing there for $1,200, which is not what it's worth. At the time, it was going for 300, but that threw a monkey wrench in things. Stuck a stick through my bicycle spoke, whatever you want. So I had hoped to get the entire box. I instead just walked away with this because I wasn't gonna give him like $2,000 for the whole box.
Nope.
No, but anyways, that's how I got my Chrono Trigger. I got it, you know, well under asking, but had to forsake the rest of the box.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, but you touched on story and everything, and like or the time travel aspect of it. That's honestly a big part of what drew me into it because I am a time travel junkie for when it's done well. You know,
Yeah.
one of the VHS tapes that I wore out as a kid was our copy of Back to the Future. I watched that over and over again. I love me some time travel stories.
Back to the Future's so good.
So good.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, it dives into the time travel aspect pretty much right out of the gate. I mean,
Yeah.
like 3 hours is right out of the gate, but depending on how long you spend at the fair.
I was gonna say, were you spending 3 hours at the fair? What were you doing?
No, I guess I should say that's when you get
I
back
was like,
from
okay.
time
I was gonna
traveling.
say
I'm confusing
you.
myself here.
I was like, you fight the robot 3 times to get 45 silver. You take that, give 40 to the dude in the tent. Play the obnoxious copy the pattern game to get the doll, and then you move on. I mean, you can play a little bit more fight the robo if you want to get some better weapons and armor before you head out, but it's not entirely necessary.
Yeah, and don't forget you need to drink all your soda too. Adopt a cat.
I rescued the cat. I forgot about the soda. I was smart enough not to touch the pink bag though.
Oh no, I dove full into trying to get a guilty verdict.
You touched everything imaginable.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I messed up one thing though, so I didn't get the unanimously guilty verdict that you need for the retro Achieva. So like one person's like,
Oh.
nah, this guy's innocent, and the rest of them like, nah, let's cut his head off.
See, yeah, at the trial, I had two people vote not guilty. And again, remembering that I've forgotten the game basically at this point. I didn't remember this event at all. And I was like, sweet, I'm free. And they're like, yeah, the jury found you not guilty. We're going to put you in jail for 3 days just cuz. I'm like, that's rude. And
Yeah.
then the chancellor shows up and it's like, yeah, this one's going to be executed. And the guy at the desk is like, I don't have the paperwork saying that. And chancellor's like, bro, trust me. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, okay, well, if I get the chance, we're definitely killing you later. You're cool. Like, jury finds me not guilty and you're trying to murder me in jail?
Yep.
That's messed up.
Oh, and that's the funny thing too, because you could go back to the castle later. And as long as you have Nadia in your party, they're like, oh yeah, sorry about that whole it's like, what? That's what I just did
It's
actually. About an hour before starting this recording, I went back to the castle and like, oh, sorry about that, lol. By the way, the queen's dead. I'm like, what? And the king's a piece of trash right now. Oh,
yep.
he just disowned Nadia. And then you try to buy him jerky, and he gets even more pissed off. Oh crap!
Yeah. It's a really interesting game in, you know, so besides the storytelling aspect of it, that it actually ties the mechanic in, like, you can use time travel to alter events and even change the world map. Like
Yes,
you can
yes,
you can regrow a forest after, a war devastates a region. You
yeah,
can, do all sorts of things. You can find a chest in the past and leave it there to like basically mature into being more valuable in the future
just
or
did
the
that.
present. It's like
Yep, just did that.
there's there's a lot of cool things that you can do.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, something went extinct and isn't present here anymore. Well, we'll just go to the past and get it. It's like,
yeah.
oh, this thing, has to mature for 1,000 years. All right, we'll jump to the future and grab it and come back.
Yep.
It's like,
Yeah, it's really cool because that forest one is one I'm actually going to do pretty soon too because I need to bring Chrono back. Then I was gonna go jump into the side quest before finishing off the like first ending.
yeah.
Um, but it's crazy how dynamic the map can feel at times, which is really cool because when you first um, go back to the past, like you rescue the queen back then, and then Frog goes off on his own because he felt like he disgraced himself. And so when you go to get the Masamune, um, you need to give it to Frog because he has the hero's medal, but he won't take it. Um, and so while you're there, you notice that Lady's Forest is like doing okay. It's doing okay. Like there's trees there, but when you go back to your time period, that whole area is gone. It's all a desert, and that town that was there is gone. It's just all desert. And like I didn't realize the town was gone until like today. Like I hadn't paid enough attention to realize the town was gone. I was like, oh, the town's gone too. What the heck? Um, but
Too barren for them to live there.
yeah, I guess so. But now, when I go to 600 AD, which is the time frame for the past, one of the pasts,
Hmm.
um, the desert has like a new invader in it that has destroyed the trees, and so you can see like this sink pit, and all the trees around her place are gone now, and it's like, oh dang, that's crazy. And
Yep.
so once you do her side quest and kill the monster under the desert, you can leave Robo behind to cultivate the land with her to get a big giant forest built. And then you just go back to 1000 AD, and then you can repair Robo and bring him back to your party. And it's like, so freaking cool. Like, it's so good. Like,
You know,
this game.
or or saving Luca's mom.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm looking forward to doing that one. Um, Cyrus's grave, like freeing his ghost. That's another one that sounds interesting to finally experience. Um, and then of course there's a way to get Frog to revert back to his human form, isn't there? If you make like a choice whether or not you're gonna recruit Magus or something. I think.
Um,
I don't know.
yeah. I I don't know what the deciding factor is. I know that in my credits he was human again. So something I did along the way triggered that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Uh, I'm gonna have to like be careful around that. Make sure I have like a safety save whenever I get to that
Yeah.
point. Or no,
I was
yeah. I guess I'm not right where Chrono's about to die.
yeah, let's also I'm going to take a side moment. We should have said this at the start. Um we're going to say character names and they might be different than how people say them in their heads, and that's fine. Like you go look these character names, they all have different names in Japanese. So, uh not going to get into arguments about what's the right way to say a name. Say a name however you like it. You're right. Everyone's right. your
So
head
you
canon on how
can
to pronounce a name is correct.
take your grammar isms, shove them somewhere.
So violent.
Especially
Anyways,
since I had the screwdriver out.
I know. I was like, I'm gonna defend myself here with the master sword.
Yeah,
Anyways,
honestly,
but
sometimes you just gotta say a name wrong just to piss off the internet. So, you know what? We're
I,
gonna
I'm
we're
not.
gonna call Princess
I'm not gonna
Nadia.
say this. I'm not gonna say the streamer. There's a streamer I follow who will purposely mispronounce a word or use a word incorrectly just to trigger certain types of people in chat,
Yep.
and he will defend the word to the dying breath. It's so funny because like if you've been there, yeah, it's a bit. He knows he's using that word wrong, but he's like, no, 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 man, that's what it means.
No, see, there's something glorious about that. Like honestly,
Well,
but
and he
yes,
said like he goes on Twitter and he uses the wrong version of there, and then when people correct him, he just blocks them. He's like, those are the type of people who aren't fun to be around.
yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh.
But
That's why
yeah,
you
so I was
gotta
gonna say,
give. That's why you gotta make sure to enjoy all your Christmas gifts this year, everybody.
now hold on, that is the one. That's the only one that I'm going to argue. I'm like, you're wrong. It's like, and I know, we're just talking about it, but I'm like, look, I live and let live on everything except that. That's the hill I die on.
Just remember, how do you pronounce every single word that has a GI in it?
Yeah, but
Anyway.
anyways. But yeah,
I always
we
like
can't
screwing with
sit here
people
all
with the
night. You've
Christmas
got a Chrono
gifts.
Trigger to finish. I've, got other things that have to be done. But yeah, so you have or have not yet recruited Magus or Magus, however you want to
No,
say
I
it.
haven't recruited Magus yet. I'm about to fight him.
Okay.
I mistook him for the Lavos encounter that happens like a little bit after.
Okay. You have a save. Here, do you want me to to spoil this for you before you like lose X number of hours in this run?
I already know everything that happens.
Okay, because that's the trick to recruit him. You don't fight him.
Yeah.
Like you talk to him, he's like, "You want to fight?" and you say no, and you walk away.
Yeah.
And then he comes running after you, like, "Hey, let's be friends." It's like narratively, this doesn't make any sense from any direction. Like,
It's
especially
because
like
he's still a little he's still a
you
little
got
boy.
Frog in the party, and like it's like, excuse me, but this is the guy who killed your best friend in the world, cursed you to be a frog,
And then set about a monster invasion of Guardia.
destroying your kingdom. Like,
Yeah.
and you
killed
just be like,
killed
let's be
thousands of people.
friends. You
But
know?
we're gonna be friends now, sure. Uh,
It's like,
see, that's the one thing about the narrative. Like, it's good,
like,
but it never gets like deep. Like
I mean,
it
I,
stays,
I yeah, I
it
mean, I
stays
think it's
friendly.
mostly it stays kid friendly, I think.
Yeah.
That's like just the one point where I have to like sit there and be like, that doesn't narratively make sense.
No,
Like everything
there's a
else
few
we do in
things.
this journey, I'm on board with, but that I'm like, there are some steps missed, and I don't know if that's a translation issue or what, or if they just looked at it and went, "This dude's cool. I want another party member. Just make it happen. I don't care how."
I
Like,
think
I don't
it's
know.
I think it's because you learn that he's uh Janus,
Yeah, yeah,
however the frick you want to pronounce it. I think it's because you learned that that's him, and you saw like how his mom was kind of a piece of crap. So you're kind of
kind
like,
of.
yeah, I know,
Yeah, yeah.
kind of, yes, but it's kind of like, okay, we'll forgive you a little bit. You still did some crap, so maybe we'll turn you into the authorities when we're done here. But like, sure,
It's
let's go kill this beast.
yeah, it's just kind of funny because you're like, there's no reason for Frog to let him join the party. Like,
Oh,
there's really no reason for
oh,
Frog
he
to let
tried
him
to
join the
kill him.
party.
He tried to
He
kill him
tried to
so
kill him.
hard.
Tried to kill everybody in the kingdom.
Yeah, and I mean, Frog was like, "For Cyrus! Ah, screw you,
Yeah.
Cyrus. We don't care anymore that you're dead." Except when we go and visit your grave and like release your ghost.
That's why the ghost is there. Like he was at peace, and then on the afterlife side, he saw that Magus joins your party, and he's like, now I have unfinished business. I'm coming back to haunt this plane.
I need to take Magus with me when I do that quest.
Yeah.
Just for the ultimate disrespect.
You'd be like, LOL. It's like, how's
Surprise!
it going, nerd?
Remember me? I killed you.
Remember how you went out like a sucker?
I'll lit you on fire.
Remember that kid you were trying to protect? He's a frog. Kicked him off a cliff.
Technically, he fell himself.
He stumbled back.
He
but,
fell.
you know,
he fell himself. He fell himself.
Come on now. You know, as a result of the magic blast.
Yeah, just a little bit. The whole transformation of limbs and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so funny, dude.
Yeah. Anyways, but talking about funny though, and maybe this is a pivot too. One of the things though, so besides the story, which I do think is cool, um, I love just kind of in general how charming the game is and the attention to detail paid, especially when you look at the character sprites and the way they interact with the world.
Yes.
I mean, you got Frog's little throat sack, inflating and deflating, the little croaking noises, like all the expressive facial features they do on everybody and stuff. Like
the dancing.
it's very fun, and other things too. Even simple things like when you try to check and see if there's something in a garbage can or bump a wall, and the character who you got in the front, like Chrono, starts shaking his head. No, it's like there's nothing here. There's nothing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it. It's really cool because that's going the extra step. Like that's stuff that you don't have to do.
Yeah.
And like that you don't see, in things like, you play Pokemon, it's like check a garbage can and nothing's there. You don't get a cool animation off of it, bumped into a desk, like you don't get a cool animation off of that.
On the converse side of that,
Mm.
it can be a bit obnoxious when you're just trying to run through something, but they added so much collision to this game with like all the trees and stuff like you're saying. So like it is an enormous attention to detail and it's great 99% of the time. But then there's that 1% of the time where you just get stuck on things.
Stuff.
You just get stuck on things. So another one, you'll talk to an NPC and then they'll move into you. So then you're just stuck there until they move and then you can move again. And it's like, it's the only complaint about that attention to detail level that I would throw at this game.
When I was at Zeal in the Sky, and you got to go open the 3 books in order.
Yes.
I opened the first 2 books, and I'm like, all right, down this long narrow hallway, and an NPC stepped right in front of me, and I was like, move, lady. And she turned and started walking down the hallway, and I'm like, why are you like this? You could have been literally any other way than this. You just woke up and chose violence.
Yeah, it's...
So
can we give a shout out to that new fight real quick, though? Like, that was brutal.
Yeah, that one was surprisingly challenging.
Because it's like, it knocks you down to 1 HP, and if you are lucky enough, they will have already queued the other 5 to, like, do the, like, major attack and not the minor attack. But then if you're unlucky, it's just like 1-hit punch, you're dead on all 3 of your characters before you even get a chance to do anything. And apparently that is one of the reasons, or one of the things that's busted in the mobile version, is that the speed of those news is like insanely faster compared to the other versions of the game. And so like it makes that fight like almost even more impossible. Like I wouldn't say it's impossible, it's hard, but it's like it makes it near impossible, I'd say.
I'm trying to remember. I was using a group attack. It might have been Lightning 2 that hits everyone.
Yeah, that's what I used.
And so, I know it's Lightning 2 that hits everyone, but I'm trying to remember if that was the attack I used or if I used something else. But I was very lucky that I was able to kind of brute force kill 3 of them. And I had Marley in the party heal someone so that when they started doing their little boops, I survived long enough to, finish the gang off.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I had Frog and Ayla in the party, so I just had Chrono doing Lightning 2 to hit all 6 of them.
Yeah.
And then Frog could do the group heal, and then had Ayla in reserve in case they did the full damage thing that she could just get them off of 1 HP to keep them alive. Like, that was a rough fight.
Yeah.
But
I was thinking, yeah, it's interesting too because your party changes throughout this game. You've got what, 7 characters total that are playable,
Yes.
and there are parts of the game where it will remove party members, and it happens more than once, and it forces your hand sometimes to change your party up.
Yeah.
Then
And you're
you've
forced
also
to
got,
take different characters with you at parts too.
because you get some who, like, certain type of enemy is immune to a specific type of attack.
Yep.
Like, dude, is there anything like, I know it's minor, but when you get to the future the first time and you come across those enemies who can only be hurt by magic, and you're like, my brother in Cthulhu, I've got like 18 magic points. Do you know how expensive it is to fight? It's like a lightning one, and each that costs 4 each time. You know, it's like, come on, give me a break. And they're like,
Just got to go back and use the
here, it's
Intertron.
like it's like here, use Ayla. She has no magic. She can't do anything in this fight. It's like, again, it's like, game, you could have been any other way,
But you're still hungry.
but you're still hungry.
Yep.
The
That's the
thing is, you
thing
use the
too.
Enertron though. You use the Enertron, and all those
Intertron.
enemies come back.
I know
Like
everything responds. It's
so
obnoxious.
like that's the thing. Which I guess, because that's what I gotta say. I like the concept of 23AD a lot. I get really annoyed in the implementation because of how much back and forthing there is. Like, go to this dome, go through the site, go through the race, come down to this dome. Hey, we need you to go back to that other dome. Go through the race, go through the site, go back to the, like, that kind of, it's really annoying really fast.
Yeah, I dislike that they make you do the race every time you go through it. It's like
Well,
once
and
each way.
until you get stronger, and then you're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna kill the giants, the mutants, because that's faster and easier.
Yeah, it's really obnoxious because it's like all you had to do is like I race you this way, I race you back, and then now let me choose if I want to race you again. Don't force me into it because
Yeah.
that is truly obnoxious for
That's
that time
that's
period.
why, like, honestly, when you get the epoch, like, that is the game changer. You're like, no more wandering the overworld map. We flying where we want to go.
Mine doesn't have wings yet.
Uh,
um, but anyway, I'd say that the biggest saving grace for this game for me, because I have a hard time getting into a lot of RPGs. It's like Pokemon is probably the only regular RPG series that I play. Like I've played
yeah,
every Pokemon game. Um, I like several Final Fantasy games, so 4, 6, 10 are my favorites there. But turn-based and random battles are very, very hard for me. So the fact that this game has no random battles in it has always been the biggest draw for it, and that's what I love most about this game and its sequel, Chrono Cross. No random battles whatsoever. I get to choose when to fight. I can avoid things. Can't always slip by everything, but you can just run
yeah,
away if you need to. But the fact that you know what you're getting into most of the time, I should say most of the time, because there are those
because you
few
can see them on the
scripted
map.
encounters
Yeah,
where you walk
yeah,
by and they ambush you, but
yeah.
it's nowhere near as bad as being in friggin' Pokemon. You're like, all right, I need to go solve this puzzle in this cave. I'm getting attacked by Zubat every 3 seconds. This is really irritating. Let me leave and go buy a repel. It's bad. And so knowing
Yeah.
what you're getting into is like that was a big deal for me because again, I don't play a lot of RPGs. So I mean, my RPG
Mhm.
experience by the time I played this game was Pokemon and Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy IV. Like those were the and Fantasy Star 2. Love Fantasy Star 2, but again,
Mhm.
random battles. Every single one, random battles. Like I know there's way more mechanics in RPGs, but like that was my experience with the whole genre up to that point. And so being like random battles, this is great. Oh, and Tales of Symphonia. Can't forget that one.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, like, because, yeah. So by the time I played this, so I had Mario RPG, Tales of Symphonia, Skies of Arcadia. Um, I actually hadn't done any of the Final Fantasies, and everyone's favorite RPG Mega Man X Command Mission.
Oh yeah. Hey,
You
I mean
know,
it's not a
and
terrible RPG.
I like it. I do get annoyed with some of the encounters, but
Oh
when you're
yeah,
just trying
way
to
too
get
many random
someplace,
battles. Again, same
way too
problem.
many. It's like Pokemon on steroids. Like
Yeah.
I took 2 steps and there's another battle. This is
Yep.
garbage.
And if you played the
Uh,
PS2 version, the load times are like a full minute long.
nice. No, I did GameCube,
Yep, GameCube
but
is the version to play on that one.
yeah. Uh, yeah, but anyways, like, so this was interesting, like, because I like the turn base because I like to think and plan out things, and this is different because like it's like a mixture of real time with turn based
Yeah.
because you're waiting for your meter to charge up so you can take an action, but the battle still goes on. Like it
Yes.
doesn't sit there and wait for you to take your action.
Which really
And some
confused me.
so, like, sometimes that's really annoying. Other times that actually kinda works out well, like because I wanna do a combo and somebody else doesn't have their meter full,
Hmm.
so I just wait, like, 2 or 3 more seconds, and then they're ready, you know?
Yep.
But it also is annoying sometimes because you queue actions and you can lose a turn. Like, I've got Marley in play and I'm like, hey, I need to do a big cure on Chrono. And so I hit, to do cure, and the enemy takes their turn and knocks Chrono out. It doesn't ask Marley what to do instead. It just says, you lose your turn, suck it, and
Yeah.
moves on.
Yeah. Because when you first start the game, it asks you if you want to have active or wait. And so I didn't fully understand this, and I think I'm barely starting to. Because I mean, I just haven't been paying enough attention. But I think active, um, so like when your character's turn and you select an item to like attack, if you're on wait, I think that finally pauses everything when you're actually selecting an attack. Um, versus active where the enemy will still take its turns. But while you're waiting for your gauges to charge and your gauges fully charge, like you can leave it there with your gauges charged and the enemies will still attack you on wait or active. And so that's what confused me for so long was
Mhm.
wait, I chose wait, why are they still attacking me?
And so when you open the sub menu is when it waits.
Yes, I believe
Maybe I
so.
should have done that because I definitely took some KOs because I was scrolling because I forgot what order things were in my bag, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I need a mid. Where's my mid at? And
right. And
yeah,
so I use wait, so I'm pretty sure that when you
interesting.
finally open the menu, that's when it's like, okay, like the enemy's not doing anything, you have time to think about it.
Well, too bad I finished this 2 nights ago. Otherwise, I'd go change it.
New game plus.
Yeah, I'm sure when I play this in 15 years again, I'll remember that.
I know, right? Oh man. Man, that's another thing that this game introduced that I don't feel like I'd ever heard about before. Um
New Game Plus.
New Game Plus.
It's pretty
Like
cool.
for the time period, like I don't think I ever played a game that featured a New Game Plus. And I mean, it's not like I've ever experienced this game's New Game Plus because I've never beaten it. But
I'm gonna throw a curveball and we'll let people argue about it in the chat.
all right,
1985, Super Mario Brothers. 1986, Legend of Zelda. You get new quest in Legend of Zelda.
do you start
Second
with all
quest.
your items though?
I don't know, but things are shuffled. It's a different game.
Yeah, it's a different
And
game. It's a second story, not necessarily a
it
New
is.
Game Plus.
I don't know.
I don't
I
know
don't know.
either. But
But
again, I
anyways, that's
didn't
that's that's why
play.
I said we'll let people argue it in the comments,
I didn't
which I
really
won't
play
read, but
either of
that's
those
okay.
games either, though. That's
But
the thing.
yeah.
Like, I
But
barely beat the original Legend of Zelda. Like what, 3 years ago, 2 years ago? It was not a fun
yeah,
experience.
you definitely want the instruction manual and the map that came with that game. If you
Oh
just
yeah.
pick up a cart solo, you are going to be on the struggle bus
Yep.
because
It
that
was not
game
fun.
knew that it had a lot of secrets and tricky things, but they gave you the resources to do it if you bought the game and then had the manual and the map.
Yep. And I just had a loose
Um,
card. It was not a fun
if you have a
experience.
loose cart, you're on the struggle bus.
I
Um,
like to this day, I still had more fun playing through Zelda 2 than I did the original Legend of Zelda. Yeah, exactly.
heresy.
Exactly.
Everyone go to the comments and
Exactly.
tell him how wrong he is. But uh, um, we're gonna weaponize the viewers now. But
Zelda 2 hype train.
get out of here with that. The month that chat or the backers choose Zelda 2, I'm gonna be busy that month. I won't be participating in
We're
that
not gonna
one.
do that game for game of the month. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna put that out there. Like, we're not going to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put my foot down, and say no on that one.
Yeah, because the only thing I would do is sit here and blow raspberries the whole time. But talking about the game though, talking about New Game Plus and also the story, what we haven't talked about yet, and get ready for one of my favorite drive-bys. Um, this game on the Super Nintendo has 12 endings, and then the DS adds another one, 13 endings.
I think
So
there's
based
more than
on the
that even.
based oh, is there? I thought it was just
I
13.
think
But
there's more
anyways,
than that.
anyways, uh it's awesome because again, the choices you make have an impact. They really matter. And sometimes it's in small things like, how your trial goes. What you did at the festival impacts what people think about you and how they're going to vote on your
Yes.
character. Um, but so I take this as a wonderful example, 1995 on the Super Nintendo, to just turn and look at Mass Effect dead in the eye and be like, you got 3 endings after thousands of decisions? It's like Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps.
So there's
Yeah.
technically 14 endings on the
There's
Super
14
Nintendo
endings.
version
Really? I've been
because
lied to. I was told there's 12.
you can lose to Magus and Lavos, qualify as 2
Oh,
additional endings per se.
do you get a credit roll when you do that? I don't think you get a credit roll, do
I
you?
don't know. I've never experienced it, so I can't say.
Because
I'm
if
just
if the
going
credits don't
off of the
roll, I don't know
list.
that counts. That's a game over screen. I wouldn't
Technically
say
that's
that's a
an ending.
if you don't get credit roll, if it just tells you to
Hey,
reload, I don't think that really
hey, hey,
counts.
hey, hey, hey. Adult Link lost. New timeline.
Yeah.
New timeline established. Like, there we go.
Okay, so when they make a game following the timeline of losing to Magus, and they make a timeline game losing to Lavos, then we'll talk about that being an ending. For me, that just sounds like a game over screen. I wouldn't call it an ending every time you get a game over screen in a game,
Yeah.
but
Time
eh,
paradox.
yeah. Anyways,
Good.
um, but I just think that's really cool. Like again talking about going that extra step and doing things you don't need to do.
Yeah.
Like, because obviously that's way more difficult. I mean, both narratively to sit down and plan it out, and then to engineer and program it too.
Yeah.
To have
On a
these
Super
triggers
Nintendo cart at
and to
that.
keep track of them. You have the memory dedicated to, did he touch this bag? Did he save the cat? Return the cat to the little girl. It's like all this stuff
Yeah.
that you know I just think it's really cool that they chose to do it.
Yeah. And like, it's crazy like how fast you can activate some of these, because it's like, instead of taking Nadia back home to her castle, you could take her to the final fight instead. Just right off rip. Or just some of the different things that can happen, and different points in the game that you could go trigger the final fight in, instead of going through the
Yeah.
whole game, and each having a different ending. Again, like, it's insanely impressive.
Yeah.
I can't think
Yeah.
of
I
any other
I def
game of that time period that did that, personally. I mean,
yeah,
there might be
I
some, I just don't know about them.
I definitely was the very first time I played this in college was definitely too big for my britches and tried to take on Lavos early and got riggedy wrecked, and I was like, okay, fine game, I see you. And it's
Go
like
do the side quests.
we're gonna go do side quests,
That's
because
That's what's
you're like
insane, though. This game doesn't
because you're like
really have side quests outside of like the
no, not
actual
until the
story
end game.
side quests.
Like that's yeah, which is like funny because yeah, you just do a main quest. You have this narrative that even so, like because you have so much power about what time to go to and where on the overworld map to wander, it doesn't feel super linear. Like it very much feels free to go do what you want.
Even though it
Sometimes
is
through
pretty
scheduling.
linear.
Yeah, it's linear if you know what you're supposed to do, but there are sometimes where it's, you know, a little obtuse and you're like, what the crap am I doing?
Yeah.
Wandering around. But um,
I've kind of had the opposite experience going through it because um like I might know the story aspects of a
I
lot
was
of
like,
it,
you
but it's
played
like
through it 4 times. Of course, you know what you're doing.
up to the Masa Moon. um but like even past that, like I haven't been looking at walkthroughs. I've been wanting to go through
Yeah,
this
yeah,
without walkthroughs. Like I know the story. It kind of helps in a regard, I guess, but not really because you still don't know exactly what sequence of events needs to be done. And I mean, like last time I read a story synopsis of this game was years ago, so I mean, I don't remember things completely, but um the game has done a good job of basically telling you exactly where you need to go and what you need to do as long as you're paying attention. And then even then, going into some random characters' houses, like they basically sum up what you're supposed to do. So like when you're
yeah.
going to do the Masamune, and they're like, "Oh, that Tata, he's a naughty boy. How is he the hero?" And then you
Yep.
find him in the forest, and he runs away, and it's like, "Oh, maybe I should go check that house that says Tata's house."
Yeah, it's funny because that's another aspect that we haven't talked about. This is a game where talking to the NPCs actually matters. Like, so many games have NPCs that are just there to like kind of check the box and fill the world so the world isn't void. And these people are giving you hints about the story, or in some cases, hints about the boss. Like, you got one telling you, it's like, hey, a wind slash will dispel stored energy,
Yeah,
or hey, these sand creatures, really don't like getting wet. And
yeah,
it's like critical data to have to winning boss fights,
yeah,
that you wouldn't get if you don't talk to an NPC, just some random villager, like not even anybody named,
yeah.
you know?
Now there are plenty of like generic blank slate ones too, but like
Yeah, yeah, and there
overall,
and
like
there are,
that's more of a rarity.
but I'm
It's
like,
felt
when was the
like
last time that you played a Pokemon game and you felt like an NPC was really helpful?
never.
Yeah,
I don't even talk to NPCs in Pokemon games. And then I end up like getting lost because I needed to talk to like one random one out of 1,000.
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like this, um, there aren't a ton of NPCs, and yeah, some of them are just kind of random. They at least usually have something to say that at least is like world building and kind
Yeah.
of interesting in that
Yeah.
regard. Instead of some of these games where you talk to somebody and they're just like, "Hi, this is our town," and you're like, "Thanks, that was worth my time. Thank
Yeah.
you. I
Exactly.
appreciate that." You
Exactly.
know? It's like, "I like shorts, they're nice and breezy." It's like, "Okay, cool, thanks. Thanks, buddy,"
Yeah.
But, you
It's
know,
it
it's
goes into that just it really is just so finely crafted of a game in practically every aspect in that regard. Like, and I'm not even an RPG fan, man. Like that's the
yeah,
thing. Like people talk this game up again, like it's so overhyped, but it just deserves it.
yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, like, you talk to an NPC and they're either giving you a hint, or they're advancing the story, or they're, building the world and stuff,
Yeah,
It's like, where it feels worthwhile to talk to NPCs,
yeah. It never feels like a waste. And then, even then, when you talk to an NPC, a lot of the times you can move still. Like you can still move your
Yeah,
character, so you could just like, oh, I already talked to
which
him
is
on
nice
accident. Let
too,
me
yeah.
leave.
Yeah, like, you start talking to somebody and they have 3 screens of text, but you can move around the map going towards your next objective while talking to them.
Yeah. And at other times, like you'll have sequences like that play out when you enter a building, like when you enter the one
Castle?
elder's residence and they're talking to
Oh,
that one drunk guy to find the rainbow shell. Like that whole
yeah.
sequence plays out without you interacting with it. You just have to sit there and listen.
Yeah.
And then that dude ends up stealing all of their money. Punk. He gives you the Clint where to find the clue and hint. There we go. I came up with a new word.
I like
But
it's a name. It's kind of an old man's name, but yeah, Clint, it's
we're old men now.
yeah.
Anyway, um, um, but he gives you a hint on where to find the shell that I'm going to be using here in a little bit anyway. So like it worked out. even if you did rob those people blind. But yeah, like everything really does serve a purpose most of the time. Like at least 80 or more % of the time, everything actually has a somewhat useful purpose, being hints or world building. And, like, it's cool. Like, it's really cool. Like, even like going down into the castle kitchen and learning about the chef and his brother is the night captain, and
Yep.
The three ladies that are down there being like, "Ugh, men are dumb," because like they have a really strained relationship because of that.
They're tired of this guy always arguing with his brother. Like,
Exactly.
take your drama out of the kitchen and go deal with it.
Exactly. Like, it's good. It's good. Like, it's enjoyable. Just the amount of different conversations your own party characters can have too is just
Yeah.
mind-boggling, because like you have 3 character slots. So you have just so many potential combinations of characters that could be in a situation and commenting on it. And it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, the reactions and interactions you get depending on who you have in your party. And like it's funny too because, for some like quest lines you're going to need a specific person in your party. Like, having Robo in your party when you go to the future to deal with that factory,
Yeah.
and how that plays out. Also, how wild is it that there's, a couple points in the story where not just who's in your party, but the order they're in your party matters, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
Like specifically having Robo in the first slot for that robot mission because you have to electrify his body a few times, or when Dalton has you arrested and you break out of the jail and you have to go recover all your items, and like you open a chest and it's like party member number 3 gear returned, and you're like, wow, I had a really weak person in party member number 3 slot, so combat's going to be real tricky. That was a mistake on my part. It's like
Oh man.
that's where I keep my healer at.
Yeah. Um that's something that you use a lot in Chrono Cross too. You can quickly change who's leading the party with select.
Hmm.
And so there's puzzles that involve you shuffling the characters around
Hmm.
to figure them out. Um, I really like Chrono
See,
Cross. I know a lot of people like bag on Chrono Cross. They're like, "Oh, it's not Chrono Trigger.
so
It's so terrible." Blah blah blah. It's like, I love Chrono Cross. I've
so
beaten Chrono
so
Cross like
here's
5 times. I haven't beaten Chrono Trigger
be,
once.
because you've specifically brought up these character interactions and dialogues. I want to say, so I've never played
Yeah.
Chrono Cross. I've never played it. I've not watched anyone play it. I have no data firsthand. Everything I've got is secondhand. The complaint that I heard, because yeah, people have lots of complaints. The one that I heard that stuck in my ear was that there are too many party members and you don't have those unique interactions like you do in Chrono Trigger.
Yes
Is
and
that
no.
fair?
Yes
Yes
and
and no?
no, because
Okay.
there's a million party members in Chrono Cross. Like, practically everyone that you meet that is of note can join your party in that game. Like, random people can join your party. Like, and each is unique, but I mean, every character does have a personality, and there are a couple of interactions between them. But I mean, even in Chrono Trigger, like, the only characters that I feel like have really ever talked to each other are um, Chrono, Luca, and Meryl. We're gonna call him Meryl right now, just to piss people
Okay.
off. Um,
Your headcanon, it's right. Everyone's
yeah,
headcanon on how to
exactly.
pronounce these
I
names
feel
is
like
right.
they're the only ones who have had an actual like interaction between each other, just because it was completely story based. Like all the other random talking that can happen, it's like not really. Obviously, when you go and get
Robo
Frog,
and
you talk
Luca
to him
have,
because
I
he's
feel like,
on.
a number of things, and
Yeah,
yeah.
like I feel like it's comparable in that regard.
Okay.
But yeah,
And
there's
that's fine. Like I said, I don't have
definitely a
any
million
data
party
to like try
members.
and argue. I have no receipts to
Yeah,
try and be like, well, actually,
yeah.
So
I mean, there are a million
it's
party
everyone's.
members. You're not going to care
Yeah.
about 90% of them. That's the unfortunate thing about there being that many. But at the same time, you could use them. They're viable. Like practically every character in that game can be viable if you're willing to work with them. Even the stupid pink dog Poshel that you get in the beginning. Um, well, a fun little tidbit there. So the Heckran that you fight in Chrono Trigger,
Yeah.
like pretty. I wasn't paying enough attention when I fought him the first time on this playthrough, so he killed me. But he killed me, and I went back and schooled him. I said, "And now your bones are gonna be used to feed my dog Poshel, because to recruit Poshel, you have to give him a Heckran bone."
Nice.
And so it's a fun little tie-in. Um,
That's fun.
but yeah, so I don't enjoy the hate Chrono Cross gets. I think it's a pretty cruel, not cruel. It's a cool game. A little more convoluted than this one, obviously, but I think it still has a very worthwhile story.
That's cool. I might have to check that out.
I think it's worth checking out because
But
it's just different. You have a lot more fine tuning of your characters too with the element system, so I like it. I've always enjoyed it. It's like one of those other RPGs that I was actually able to like really get into, which is funny because I'd played it after Chrono Trigger, but somehow I was able to stick with that one, unlike Chrono Trigger. Don't ask me how. I don't know. It's a great game
funny,
too.
you mentioned the elements, and we've mentioned a few specific spell names. Um, the magic system in this game is interesting
It is.
because you know you kind of have to wait a surprising amount of time to get magic, and then not everyone in your party gets magic, and even the ones who get magic, they don't all get it at the same time. So that's kind of an interesting mechanic.
Yeah, isn't it that I think it's just Ayla that doesn't learn magic? I think everyone else has a magic
Robo, I
element
thought,
to them at least, but Ayla's like nothing.
because Ayla comes from a time before magic existed, so she can't learn it.
Yeah.
And I thought Robo doesn't learn magic either because he doesn't have like a soul or whatever.
Yeah, I know that he's a shadow element. I don't know if he can learn anything with it or not because I haven't used him since I got him.
Yeah,
Then Magus is shadow.
yeah, he already has it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
you teach
And
Frog gets water,
Frog and
and
Marl are water. And then Lukas fire, then
well,
Chrono's
she's
lightning.
she's ice.
Yeah, she's ice, but her like
Yeah,
type is still water, I think.
yeah. So yeah. Anyways, it's interesting, because again, it leads into like having a pretty diverse set of skills among your party members,
Yes.
and so it's like you can feel pretty balanced shuffling them around still. And there are certain instances where you want to, change out someone for a very specific task.
Yeah.
But I think most of the game, except for when they forcibly remove a party member for a time, it lets you play kind of how you want to play.
Yeah, that's great. I like the way that you learn these things too because like your characters have their experience points that they level up based on that affect the stats.
Well,
But
yeah,
then your abilities, you get technique points to learn the new abilities. And so it's like, all right, you need to have this many more technique points to unlock this ability.
yeah, it's kind of interesting because in essence, what you have is two different experience gauges.
Yeah. And even though they kind of like work together at the same time, they still feel separate somehow because it's not
Yeah,
you can't just go in and earn just technique points unless you get the wallet item to turn your XP into money because that is a
yeah.
thing. In one of the sealed chests, you could get
Is
a wallet that will make it so when you earn XP, it just becomes money. But I
Yeah.
think you still earn technique points, so you would be able to level up and learn abilities without leveling up your character, essentially.
Yeah, and it's also funny. I found that item. I never used it because I never felt like money was a problem
Eh.
until one point, super late in the game, when you get there's a helmet. I'm forgetting the name of it right now that grants you status immunity,
Mm.
and it costs 100,000 gold. I bought two and didn't have enough to buy a third, and I was like, oh, This is like the first time I've had money issues in this game, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I bought
It's
surpluses of consumables
oh yeah.
and have not had an
Yeah, well,
issue.
it's like because you know, in the early game, I was really, really stingy with my money and stuff, and like really stingy about using shelters until I actually sat down. I was like, wait a minute, potion costs 10 gold, and I've got 30,000 gold. Why am I being stingy with potions and things?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's
it's like, go
the
hog wild, use it.
it's the ethers that are killer because those are 800 for the basic one. Like that's brutal.
But the thing is, like, you also get so many ethers just by killing enemies. Like, they just drop them a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
The same thing with all the rest of the equipment in the game. It's like you get really powerful equipment just in the chests, in the
yeah.
dungeons, and on in the sealed chests. Like you
Well,
get
and then the
you
other
don't
thing
even
is
really need to buy things.
if you want to be really cheeky with it, you put Isla in your party and she learns charm
Mhm.
and she can basically steal equipment off of enemies and you can get some high tier equipment kind of early, you know, like
Yeah.
before you can buy them in stores or in sealed chests if you just know which enemies to charm because there's
Yeah.
like specific ones like sometimes it's bosses, sometimes it's you know like kind of mid bosses, sometimes it's just randos where they're like, oh yeah, this guy has like prismatic helm on him and it's like why? Like, why does
um
he have like, you know? So
just
it's
another
kind of
shout out
interesting.
to the news. Um they have an item you can steal from them and it's a mop. And so one of the retro achievements for this game is to beat Lavos with the final hit being delivered from the mop.
That sounds awful.
It does.
Both for having to have the mop equipped, but also it's not even just that you have to deliver the final blow with the mop, which means you're gonna have to be keeping very careful track of his HP through the fight to make sure that you don't accidentally kill him with some other hit.
But I mean, again, New Game Plus, you have plenty of chances to do it.
Okay, okay,
um,
that's how you want to live your life.
I'm honestly like, I might be tempted to master this set because it really isn't that bad
We'll see
outside
how
of the
many
time
hours you spend
consumption.
with bot battle.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
gonna start up your stream and you'd be like, Chrono Trigger mop percent.
Gotta master Metroid Prime first. I decided
Oh
I want to master that game.
man.
uh, I'm not sure where time will be to find that, but whatever. Um, but yeah, mot percent that'll be a thing eventually. Um,
No, that reminds me. I need to go watch a speed run of this game now because at one point I was curious. You know, I'm like, you know, you get like 17 hours in, you're like, all right, how much of this game is left? And you Google how much time it takes to beat, and you're like, what's the speed run of this? And you know, Google's like, yeah, casual play of this is 20 to 25 hours, and then speed runs are between 4 and 5 depending on the category. And you're like, what are the? And I'm like, glitchless is like, yeah, glitchless. Glitchless runs are between 4 and 5 hours. I'm like, what kind of nonsense are they doing? I gotta go see this now.
it's there was
I
actually
wish I'd had time to watch one of these
there's someone in
before
our
we did.
local groups that speed ran this game.
Yeah, I really wanted to have time. I just didn't this week, you know,
Yeah,
work and kids and all. I really wanted to watch that so we could talk about that, but you know,
yeah.
that'll have to be a different time, I guess.
I saw some of what it was like back in 2017. So I mean, obviously that was almost 10 years ago, so it's gonna have changed quite a bit. But like, it's interesting. It was
I mean,
very
like
interesting.
just those like kind of like pre-cut sequences by themselves, right? Like
Yeah.
all those add up. So you're like, okay, it's a glitchless run, but somehow they're getting through this like unreasonably fast.
Well,
So
they're also low level runs usually, I think. So you're just
yeah,
running away from practically everything except
yeah,
for the
which is
bosses.
another thing that I'm like, how do you
How do you take out the bosses?
gotta watch the run? But yeah, like
Yeah,
how do you beat some of these?
how do you
Like
take out the bosses? Like,
this because that's the thing. Like so when I you know full of myself again, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go fight Lavos. I'm level 40. It'll be fine. And before I get a move, and by the way, like I got Chrono with, you know, a helm that grants him haste, so he's already super fast. And Lavos is just like attack all, 999 points of damage, party drops, and I'm like, okay, maybe I won't fight him while I'm level 40. Maybe I'll go do these side quests and get the better gear, you know?
Yeah, I
Like,
think that's the thing. Like, you really need to have that gear the first time you go through it. And
yeah.
'cause what was it? I got the swallow from one of the sealed chests. I didn't
Mhm.
realize it was you could only pick one or the other. Um, like I just I didn't pay enough attention to the new that said, yeah, you can have one of these. So I picked the swallow, and it changed my speed stat on Chrono from like 14 to star. And it's like, oh, what is?
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
I got the double star zooms. Let's go.
Yeah, I can't remember what the item is. I equipped something to him that like drastically increases damage. So yeah, like my strength stat became the star.
Yeah. Another shout out to Chrono Cross there. The first weapon your main character starts with is a swallow, so
Hmm,
just it's fun.
hmm, nice.
um, but yeah, there's so much to do with the equipment in this game too. Like, find so much. It affects the stats.
Yeah.
You get the power tabs, the magic tabs, the speed tabs. So like you're really able to max out these characters, and I mean when you do multiple playthroughs, like I'm sure you can max them out pretty quick. Like, I
Yeah.
can't even imagine what a level 99 New Game Plus looks like on that game. We'll just have to experience it.
Yeah, go see. Tell us about it. Stream it even, you know?
Oh my gosh. I wouldn't mind streaming this game, except that everyone would jump in to backseat the crap out of it. And it's like, after I've beaten it one time, that might not be such a bad thing, but it's like, it's one of those games where it's
I
so
get it. No, no,
overhyped that the people
I
that
get
were
it.
going to come watch it is just
There's
going to kind of be a
there are a couple
hit and
games you can't
miss.
stream, and you know, we'll summon some more keyboard warriors here. Like Undertale and Celeste are games worth playing, but not worth streaming.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, and if you know, you know, and if you don't try streaming it. You'll be happier.
Yeah,
Uh,
because I mean, I was trying to stream through Final Fantasy VI when I like first got started streaming almost 10 years ago, and
yeah,
like it was going great. Like I had some really cool people in chat, but then in the last one I did, there was just some really obnoxious people like, "Oh, you missed that. Go back and do that. Like you didn't know you need to do." I'm like, "Dude, it's a blind playthrough. Like piss
yeah.
off." And then my save got deleted, and I never touched the game again. So yeah, like that's my concern if I were to ever stream this game. Just being like, I don't care enough. Like, if you care that much to be talking like that in chat, like, go play it your friggin' self.
Yeah.
Get off of me. But I don't know. Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Yep.
Be
So
interesting. It'd definitely be interesting. You know what we haven't talked about though?
there's a couple things we haven't talked about.
Yeah, there are. But
What's on your mind?
the first thing we're gonna talk about now, audio.
Yep.
This game is beautiful. It's just so many distinct themes, so many great tunes. Like this is one of those top 10 soundtrack games. And considering it's on a Super Nintendo that doesn't even use full orchestration, incredible.
I'm trying to remember. I think this may have come with a soundtrack CD. I think it's probably on that shelf over there off camera.
I know
I
that
was
there
like,
is an orchestrated version of the soundtrack available because if you have an SD to SNES, or as they're known now, an FX
yeah,
pack, you can do an MSU1 ROM hack to add the
yep.
orchestrated audio to the game.
MSU ROM hacks are so nice.
They're so good.
But yeah, great soundtrack. Um, I definitely got the battle theme stuck in my head. I told my wife I found myself humming it in the kitchen one time because you know I was like, I'm like, okay, I've been playing this game too much because I'm just like making a sandwich. It's like do-do-do-do, 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 and I'm like, oh no, oh no.
Yes, one of us.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
But this is a 1995 Square game, so you gotta love that they use the typical Final Fantasy victory fare at the end of the battles too. Um, since this game was included with Final Fantasy IV, everyone's like, it is technically a Final Fantasy game.
I was again remembering that I'd never heard of this game until college and I got on the DS. I don't know the history of it on the Super Nintendo.
Oh, it was just the PS1 release when they packaged it with Final Fantasy IV.
Oh, okay.
Again,
Well,
abysmal version of the game. Never play it.
that sounds like a Square compilation. Doesn't sound like they're in the same world or universe.
Yeah,
But anyways,
yeah. People say it is, but yeah.
people have their head canon.
Yeah. But yeah, the music is just so top notch. The Super Nintendo sound chip, man, that Sony sound chip in there was just, it gave us a lot of beautiful stuff, and this is like truly one of like the top 5, if not the top 3 soundtracks on the entire system.
Hmm.
And like again, I'm not even a fan. Like
He
I
keeps
like
saying this
it.
game's overrated.
I like it. It's so
Overhyped.
it's deservedly overrated. Come on, get it right. I said deservedly overrated. um,
Here's the you keep saying that, and then we're gonna pull up the Inigo Montoya. It's like I don't think that word means what you think it means. I'm like, if it's overrated, then it doesn't deserve it, right? It's like I frequently hyped, like like there's got to be some other phrase we can use for this because here's the thing too. Because we're talking Akira Toriyama, we'll tie it to Dragon Ball Z. It was funny. I've watched a video essay one time. Somebody did a series rating and ranking the villains in Dragon Ball Z.
oh
Starting with
man.
like worst to best, and they got to number one, and they're like, "It's Frieza. It's obviously Frieza." And they're like, "You know what? Sometimes the obvious answer is obvious because it's right." It's like you can come in and be a contrarian for the sake of being a contrarian, but sometimes things are obvious because they're the right answer.
And I mean,
And so,
it
I mean,
really
I don't.
it's really true.
I,
Like how much of a linchpin was Frieza for like all of the events moving forward in that show? Like he triggered Vegeta going to joining Team
yeah,
Goku, he triggered Super Saiyans,
yeah.
he triggered all of it. Like you
Yeah.
don't have 90% of everything that followed without Frieza. So, I mean,
And also just in the terms of someone being evil for evil's sake,
yeah,
It's
exactly.
like,
Exactly.
but but yeah,
But,
and so that's the thing, like I don't know that saying overrated is the appropriate like term because like it's definitely hyped, it's talked about a lot, it's on everybody's top 5 list for
I
RPGs.
think I said hyped when this started.
Maybe?
I think I
Okay.
said hyped when this
Okay.
started. I'll have to
I
go
just
back and
like
double check, but yeah, overhyped.
overhyped is
Yes,
maybe
it's
like
ridiculously overhyped, but deservedly overhyped. We'll correct it now
okay, okay.
in case
Hey,
we said it wrong at some point.
I'm an old man, maybe I'm remembering wrong. That happens, you know.
I don't remember the year 2021.
Let's
I
what
mean,
are
there's
you
nothing worth
what
remembering in
what
2021, so
what you mean 2021? It's March of 2020, okay? Just like, like January was 2 months ago. Like we were all sitting at home, nothing's happened, okay? Just come on. Come on.
oh man, good
We're worried
times.
about those fires in Australia, okay? Calm down. Anyways, very very random segue. Anyways,
uh,
yeah, the soundtrack is amazing. The only thing I wish because again the battle music gets stuck in my head and the fanfare. I wish there was some variety, but I think that's pretty standard in RPG to just have one main battle theme and sometimes bosses get something special.
yeah,
Like
and I mean,
anyone who's played Pokemon knows it's like there's a point where you just get annoyed and you turn the volume off. It happens.
yeah, and I mean it being a cartridge based RPG at
Yeah.
that, like it's
Yeah,
kind
no, no,
of
no.
what you
They
should
crammed
expect.
so much stuff into this, it's amazing, you know?
Yeah,
It's amazing that they found room for a soundtrack.
and this isn't one of those games that was originally designed around the CD expansion of the Super Nintendo. Like I think Chrono Trigger was always a cartridge based game. It was what was it, Secret of Mana that was on Super Nintendo that had to be
Yeah.
gutted because of the cancellation of the PlayStation add-on. Um
Yeah, I'm not sure. Secret of Mana was another one that was introduced to me by that same college roommate.
yeah,
Um,
cuz that one
I
that
had a
one had to
Super
be
Nintendo.
gutted.
We had like 10 games for our Super Nintendo. We financially were not in a good place then.
Yeah.
And so like I missed like every RPG except for Mario RPG. And the only reason that one caught my eye is because it had Mario in it, you know?
Yeah, and I mean I didn't
So
play RPGs at all back then. Like I
yeah.
didn't own a single RPG on the Super Nintendo. I didn't even own Zelda on Super Nintendo. I borrowed that from a friend. Like
So you didn't know which one?
Link to the Past. Like I never owned Link to the Past back then.
Okay. No,
Like I
neither did we. That was I didn't find out about Link to the Past till years later.
Yeah, I borrowed
But
that one in high school from a friend, so it
yeah,
was like 10 years after it had come out.
yeah.
Because like for me, it was Mega Man X, Super Mario World, Super Mario World 2. We had a few sports games, so we had like Madden 94, one of the college football games, NBA Jam, I believe. And then my cousins owned Lion King and Street Fighter 2, so I'd borrow those all the time. And then another friend had Super Star Wars, so I'd borrow that all the time. Oh, and then we also had Mario Paint. Um, and that's like what we had growing up for Super Nintendo. We really did not have much, but like things were different back then. Like you would play a single game into oblivion back then.
Become the master of all in the
Yeah,
realm. Yeah.
like it's just not in gaming culture to do that anymore. Like just buy one
Because
game.
games are more accessible now,
Yeah,
you
they
know.
are.
But so uh yeah. Uh but yeah, soundtrack on this
Oh yeah,
incredible.
beautiful, beautiful.
Um Pixel art, I think beautiful.
Oh yeah,
Again, I'm talking about all the little details, like Frog's throat moving, how expressive the characters are, like
lots of animations,
fantastic.
lots of
Lots of
animations.
animations, lots of idle animations, like particle effects and stuff, like snow, wind, um, uh,
Haze.
the kind of haze. Yeah, I was gonna say in 2030 or 2300, you get tons of the pollution and the haze and everything
Mm-hmm.
everywhere, like sandstorms, like really incredible, like everything that they did with this,
Yeah.
you know.
And the fact that it is all seamless to transition from walking in the area map to starting a battle, like might be like 1 or 2 seconds of delay as it brings up your menu, and the menu position will shift depending on where your characters and the enemies are to try to get it out of your way. Not always successful, but good enough that it doesn't matter. And
See,
so,
I wouldn't know because, like I said, I did the DS version, so
oh,
like
that's true. You get it on the
the
bottom
menus down the
screen.
bottom
Yeah,
screen.
it's
So
true.
my
It's
top
true.
screen is always clear.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Another cool thing about the DS version, though, is that it has those cutscenes from the
Akira
PS1
Toriyama
version.
style, you know.
So I did not get any of the cutscenes during this playthrough. I'm gonna go back and rewatch those on a YouTube video later, because that was one of the reasons why I had wanted to play the PS1 version when I decided I wanted to play through the game again, whatever time that was, but gave up so quick because of the load times. Because on PS1 version, as soon as the battle's initiated, you get like the initial growl of the enemy because it's like, "Rawr, rawr, rawr." But then it hitches there while it loads in everything, and it's like insanely long. I don't know if it's like 20 or 30 seconds, but it's so
Yeah.
long, and I just could not handle it. So it's really funny to me how when I was playing it through the very first time with my buddy, and me being on the Super Nintendo version on my Xbox and him on PS1, he would always be like, "All right, hold up, wait for me. I'm still trying to catch up to where I told you to go because of those load times."
So, uh, yeah, I gotta say those cutscenes. Like the first time that one rolled, I was like, oh, like I love my pixel art, but all of a sudden now, I'm getting like Dragon Ball Z, but it's not Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
that Akira
it's
Toriyama artwork. And I love that they did that because they didn't have to, right?
no, they
But like
didn't.
Akira Toriyama was the original artist designer, and they're like, hey, when we do these cutscenes, let's do it in an Akira Toriyama style.
Yeah,
Like
like
that's just fantastic.
they didn't have to. They could have done it in their traditional square style, but it would have really
Yeah.
just screwed with the entire tone and theme of the game though. Like it would have like I think people would have just absolutely like railed on it if it hadn't
I mean,
been.
I don't know. It's like, at the time though, because you said they made them for the PlayStation 1 version. I mean, having a movie in a game would have been like just mind blowing, right?
Yeah.
Like it probably would have gotten a pass at the time. We'd probably make fun of it now. Kind of the same way like the cutscenes in the Mega Man X games, they got a pass in the
Uh,
time, and now we just be like, boo, throw
they
popcorn at the screen.
didn't. They didn't though. That's the thing. It's just that you didn't hear those negativities outside unless they were from your direct friend group because of just it wasn't in your face like it is now. Like forums were a thing, but like that's not pushed to you by an algorithm.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because I never heard about it back then. All I heard was how great, those games were. You could play as Zero, da 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 da. I'm like, but it's called Mega Man. Why y'all playing
uh
as Zero?
yeah. But
Thank you for
I'm
joining
not
my
gonna
TED
lie, like
talk.
the PS1 adding the cutscenes was always a big deal to me, and that's why I had such a hard time choosing whether or not to do the Super Nintendo version or the DS version. And I essentially just chose the Super Nintendo version because the retro achievement set seemed more manageable in case I ever wanted to finish it. Um, but like I do like those cutscenes. I think they're pretty neat. I think that the opinion around them has been positive. I haven't looked in a long time, but I don't feel like people hated them. But what do I know?
I mean, I like them. They're fun,
Yeah,
and
they're cool.
especially I got my ending, and I got ending number one, and I don't care if that's the basic ending. Chrono and Marley get married, okay? So best ending, you
Oh
know.
yeah,
Frog turns into a human. That's cool. Cherry on top,
yeah,
It's like
yeah. Um, what was it?
Lukas steals a baby in the forest. Weird. Whatever. Move on. It's like,
Probably Kid.
yeah.
It's probably
It's like,
Kid from Chrono Cross.
there's a random baby under a tree. Better take him and run. It's like odd.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
probably Kid
poke
from Chrono
around,
Cross.
see if there's a parent nearby before you just kidnap a child. It's like maybe they set him down to go fetch water from the river. I don't know. It's like
Right. But yeah, I do think that's actually Kid from Chrono Cross. Um, I'll need to like verify my lore, but what I think it is. Um, but shout out or tie into that ending when you first defeat Magus and you're like in that fever dream and like she comes in and wakes you up being like Chrono, it's time to wake up, go find a job, you bum. So yeah, that being one of the endings is just so fun.
that's funny.
But anyway, again, millions of endings in this game. It's crazy. Um, yeah, I'm not really thinking of anything else I need to touch on for this one for this month now. Like, I think it's just a very streamlined RPG experience. Like, you never really get truly lost in it. Like you have four different versions of the world map essentially, but like each one isn't really that big, so you can really actually explore every single thing, figure out what you need to do at a worst case. But again, just talking to a couple random people usually puts you on the right path, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that even though this is a long game, that it doesn't waste your time. And that's a big deal to me because like RPGs today, it's like, oh, I have 50 million quests to do in this village. I'm never gonna get to the main story now. And it's like this whole game is just main story. And then you get to a point where it's like, by the way, you could go do these like 8 extra things now if you want to. We'll give you cool stuff for doing it that'll make the end easier. And thank you. Like, thank
Yeah,
you
I
for
guess
not wasting
like
my time.
it's really interesting that like it's a game that if you know what you're doing and it's like it is pretty linear. It To me it didn't ever feel linear because
That's the
you have
secret.
these world maps that you can explore and you can jump around between the different time periods. You can go where you want to go, do what you want to do.
And you can
So it
trigger
never
extra
felt
scenes by doing that.
it never felt like I was being like forced to do a thing, you know? But you just advance the main story and then you hit a certain point where they're like, "Okay, here's a choice. You can go fight the main boss now, or here's a list of side quests you can do." And if you do the side quests, you expand on lore, you get unique and really cool and powerful equipment,
Hmm.
and you get to do a couple of interesting side things like maybe saving Luca's mom, you know?
Or growing a forest for future
Or
generations to
growing a
enjoy.
forest, it's like you literally alter the world or alter character storylines. And
Yeah,
so it's like
it's all
that's a
meaningful.
really neat way of doing things.
Yeah, it's all meaningful. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, none of it wastes your time. Um, from what I've experienced and from what I know, like, none of it really ever wastes your time, and that is perhaps one of the greatest aspects about this game that I can get behind and push it for that reason. It's like, it's straightforward. You're gonna enjoy it. It's not gonna waste your time. You're going you're gonna be invested in it once you can get into it. Like, even from someone that doesn't enjoy RPGs a lot, you can really enjoy it.
Yeah. Honestly, like I think maybe like my only real criticism of the game is that it's very slow to start. I feel
Yeah.
like it's very slow to start, and especially before you're able to hop around as easily. Some of the early game, the backtracking feels a little annoying to me personally.
Yeah.
Like when you have to jump through the time portals and stuff, like
Yeah.
you're like, okay, go back to the canyon, and you're like, so I'm level 20, but I'm getting jumped by level 1 characters, and that's annoying.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so, but it's the early game, and you will get past that. It feels a little slow to start, but
Yeah.
other than that, I think it's a great game.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a fantastic game. I'm gonna go play it some more as soon as we call it here, because I again do want to finally say that I finished the game and not just know the story. Um, one of these days I'll finally finish watching all of Dragon Ball Z and not just know the story. Android Saga.
Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. This is a family-friendly channel. I'm struggling to find the words. What did you just say to me?
That I got every bit of Dragon Ball Z knowledge I have from playing the video games.
Oh, my friend, we got to do something about that.
Hey, I've watched up to the Android Saga. I've watched up to the Android Saga now. Just gotta finish it.
I'm gonna say something that'll get me some internet flack. Go watch Kai then for the Boo Saga. It
No,
won't save
see,
you too many episodes. It'll save you some. But
so you got to experience the original at least once before you go into cheap out like that. That's my thought on it.
well, here's the trick. When you say original, what do you mean original? Are you watching the Japanese? Are you watching Ocean? Are you watching Funimation? Are you watching? I'm forgetting the dub that Canada and the UK got. Also, I recently found out there's a different dub. It's an English dub, but it played in Southeast Asia that's different than Funimation. Okay. So when you say the original, like what are you talking about? Because there's seriously like 5 different versions of
Yes,
this you
there
could
there
watch.
there are. I just mean actual episodes. Like, I don't care
Okay.
about the voice work. I just mean the actual
Okay.
filler and all. You got to experience it at least once.
You know what, actually, I'll say one more thing to get people really mad. They'll forget every other bad thing I've said during this by this one thing. So, anime, sub or dub, watch what you want. I don't really care. I watch them interchangeably. The exceptional one is Dragon Ball Z. I can't do it in the original Japanese because having a character Goku with a 1980s Arnold Schwarzenegger body and a woman's voice coming out of the mouth shatters the immersion and rips me out of the story every single time.
Yep. Yep.
No disrespect to the actress.
Yep.
Like as Kid Goku, completely fine, not a problem. Arnold Schwarzenegger body with a woman's voice coming out of it throws me off every single time.
Yeah. Yeah, I can interchange them too, but I just got so used to English Trigun that I can't watch it in Japanese. Gotta have my Johnny.
Johnny Young Bosch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gotta.
I love Johnny Young
Yeah,
Bosch.
exactly. Um, but anyway, if for any reason you have not played Chrono Trigger, or its sequel Chrono Cross, like I know Chrono Cross gets a lot of flack again, I think you should honestly play them both. I think they are both worthwhile experiences. Chrono Cross is not as nice with your time as Chrono Trigger is. I will say that. But I still think it's a worthwhile journey, and it's one that I have completed many times, and I do consider Chrono Cross as one of my top 10 favorite games of all time.
Hey, Ice, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think your audio was cutting in and out a lot during that.
Huh?
And I'm at first I wasn't sure if it was just my headset, but I was looking at Discord and your square was not lit up while
Uh,
you were cutting out. So
it's okay if Discord doesn't get it because OBS is getting it, so we're good.
okay then.
Yeah, we're good. We're
Well, I'm
good
glad
there.
we captured that for the video on YouTube.
Yeah, it's all good. We can share technical difficulties on the podcast. It's all good.
Nice.
But yeah,
Way to suck, Discord.
yeah, way to suck, Discord.
You see what happens? You get bought out and by somebody who's going to try and take you through IPO, and you turn into a crap product.
I mean, some of us have always found it to be a crap product because everyone jumped on it, and we've ruined good things because of it. Um, that's a discussion for another day. You can ask me about why I hate Discord, and I will gladly tell you. But anyway, in the meantime, go play Chrono Trigger. Even if you're mildly interested in RPGs, or even if you have a hard time getting into RPGs traditionally, I think that Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross can help you out with that because of just the way they work. But yeah.
So, are we doing a scale of 5 points or 10 points to rate this one?
We could do 10.
Okay. What's your 10-point scale rating for this game that you haven't finished after starting it so many times over the years?
We're going to give it a 9. We'll give it a solid 9 just because it is, again, very streamlined. Lots of world building. The plot may not always feel as dire as it needs to because it was meant for us as kids back then. So it did not get as the consequences don't maybe always feel as severe as they should be. Yet at the same time, you get a friggin' meteorite striking into a planet and causing an ice age. Like, it does touch on some pretty drastic stuff, especially the starvation element of 2300. But it still manages to, like, just feel friendly overall.
You've got a whole city in the sky that collapses, and most of those people die.
That's true. That's about what that's what I'm gonna go do right now.
And then I think also when you look at the cataclysm of 1999,
Everyone.
Like, I think there's a fair amount of doom and gloom. And if we had played this when we were age appropriate children, it probably would have felt super heavy and intense.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, more in the dialogue than some of the.
It just means like
other things.
We're old jaded men now, and we're just like, oh, your world's falling apart and you're hungry, huh? That must be rough.
All right, I think you're right there. I think I do need to change my opinion on that. I think I mean more the dialogue than the actual events themselves.
Okay.
Like, let me shift into that aspect of it, because it's like Princess Nadia is always super optimistic and upbeat, being like, "Yeah, let's go do that." It's like, girl, we're gonna get our butts kicked. What's the matter with you?
I mean, even that though, I mean, she is a princess who has been kept sequestered by her father. So yeah, she probably does have a pretty positive outlook on things because everything has always worked out for her,
Yeah,
except for getting to go outside, right?
I mean, it makes sense. That's her
Yeah,
personality. Every character
yeah.
has a distinct personality, which is another thing I really appreciate about this game. Um, but yeah, so I mean, I'd give it a 9 out of 10, even if I haven't finished it. Like, I do know everything about it, story wise. I know enough about it gameplay wise from having played it this far. Like, they're not going to introduce a new mechanic on me at this point in the game. Um, uh, like, I wouldn't call it a perfect game,
Hmm.
but it's perfect enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking I'd give this one a 9 as well. I think it's amazing. Love the soundtrack, love the gameplay. I really enjoyed the story, you know, with my bias towards time travel stories. The characterizations are fun, you know, there's a lot of, you know, thought put into events and how the game works. It's what pulls it for me again is just that the start feels very sluggish. I think it takes too long to get going. I think it takes too long to get a full party and to get magic and to get the ability to move around the map easier. It just it takes a little too long to hit its stride, but once it hits its stride, it's so fantastic.
Yeah. And
So
thankfully, it
so
does hit its stride sooner than modern day RPGs can. So,
yeah. So yeah, again, a solid 9 for me.
yeah. One thing I forgot to ask you.
Mm.
Um, your finishing
Ideal
party.
party.
Yeah, who
Yeah,
did
I
you
was gonna
use
say
in your
that
final party for
I
the end?
that's funny. I because I segued myself away from that because earlier when we were talking about parties and swapping out, I was gonna ask that question. My ideal party, the one that I used as often as I was allowed to, was Chrono, Magus, or Magus, or however you want to pronounce Magus, however you want to pronounce that name, and Marley.
I'm just gonna call him
So
Moo Juice from now on.
headcanon, you're right. That's how his
Yeah,
name's pronounced.
exactly.
But yeah,
Oh man.
two super heavy hitters pounding my enemies into oblivion with Marley casting haste on the whole party so we could start doing higher DPS and, you know, healing is needed.
Yeah.
So, and
Absolutely.
then, you know, if the team gets hit with something big that, you know, I can't have her heal everyone, everyone's moving so fast they can throw a healing item on themselves and move on.
All right. Well, for
That's my
me,
strat. I was
for
like, I got, you know, everybody with immunity to conditions. Um, HP maxed out at 999, whether they leveled up or whether they got a gold or a silver stud on them. You know,
yeah,
just go hog wild.
yeah. So for me, I'm really enjoying Chrono. Um, I was gonna think of some other stupid thing to call her, but it'll just go back to Nadia.
Yeah.
Um, and then Ayla, just because Chrono and Ayla can hit super hard, and they
Oh
have
yeah.
some really good dual tech. We didn't even talk about dual tech, but that's another cool
No.
aspect of the combat system
They.
is that you can have attacks that work with two or even all three characters, and that's just super
Yep.
cool. Um, but they have really good dual tech that works really well. You can add elemental effects to that with Chrono's lightning, which is really useful for most encounters. And then again, Nadia will cast haste and heals. And if you get into a situation where everyone gets hit, aura swirl or whatever it
Swirl. Yep.
is,
Or a whirl, I think is
whirl,
what it's
yeah,
called. Yeah.
um, still heals like a good half of my party at the moment, like half their HP
Plus,
to
in that
keep them in.
instance, Ayla has Kiss, so she can also heal.
Yep, she can also heal in reserve too. So it's like if
Yep.
I get into a really big
And
emergency situation, like with the recent boss fight I just did,
yep.
or a
And
whirl, and then she kisses whoever's still the lowest that needs an extra boost.
yep.
So I've been really enjoying that. I've also enjoyed having Frog in the mix with Ayla for their slurp kiss, which just sounds so
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 gross.
gross, but
So
it
gross.
heals everybody quite considerably, so it's really nice. But he doesn't cast haste, so that's why I kind of swap between him and Nadia all the time. But I've been
Yeah.
really enjoying that. Obviously, I don't have Magus yet, or Moo Juice. I don't have Moo Juice yet to play around with, but we'll get there tonight. So maybe it'll change. I don't know. I don't think so.
You say moo juice, and it sounds like a child not knowing what to call milk. It's like the
Exactly.
juice that comes out of the moo over there.
Yeah.
It's like, look at the big moo over there. I want its juice.
Anyway, Wiz,
Anyways,
thanks for joining me to talk about Chrono Trigger on this 3rd-year anniversary of Game of the Month. This was a much better way to start our next year of games than the way we originally started Game of the Month. But yeah,
that might be one of the funniest things I've done in this channel is get you to play that game, and then I did.
he didn't even show up for the discussion. Jerk.
Oh man. Well, you were laughing at me so much on my playthrough because my, Twitch chat had voted for me to play banjo. You were sitting there tee-heeing at my suffering, so I got you back.
Yes, you did. It was good times. It was good times. I was really positive about Banjo in that Game of the Month discussion too. But like I'm thinking about replaying it for retro achievements in my N64 reviews, and it's just like I don't wanna. Like I don't wanna. Once was
Pain,
enough.
lots of pain.
Oh my gosh. But anyway, thanks again, Wiz. Appreciate you joining me again. And to everybody, please let us know your thoughts on Chrono Trigger down in the comments below as always. And if you'd like to see other games discussed, you can always pitch those for future Game of the Months over in that Discord server I have, because everyone has to have a Discord server, even though I don't like Discord. Again, you can ask me about that and I'll tell you exactly why. Anyway, take it easy, everybody. We'll see you back next month.
See ya.